super excited to talk about this today. What is Microsoft Copilot and what is all this chatter that I keep hearing about it? What AI tools or software do you use in your daily work? So, what are the differences in these things? Maybe the use case is different for each of you. Let's dive in a little bit more. So, what is ChatGPT? ChatGPT is a tool that allows you, it assists, it's a low code, but it assists with writing and coding, brainstorming. It understands context and it can provide conversational content or answers. So you all know, you can say, hey, it's kind of like the new request in a browser almost. You can ask it a question and you get back all this information. Different than that is Meta AI. So I don't think anybody actually commented on using Meta AI, but this is the one that you see in your social media channels. Do you want us to help you with an answer? This is integrated into Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp. It provides AI-powered chat and recommendations. So again, do you want help with this post? Those kind of things. That's what you're seeing from that particular AI. It can also generate images, so that's another unique feature to that one. Gemini. So this is one that actually accesses real-time web information. So that's unique to it, different than ChatGPT. And it can generate text, answer questions, and assist with research. So that's what Gemini is used for. Then we get to Copilot. So how is Copilot different? I actually was in a really interesting chat the other day, and they're like, don't use that. It's the same as everything else. And I was like, it is not the same as everything else. And I want to tell you why. And actually asked that person if I could set up a demo because Copilot chat is not like the others. It can answer general knowledge questions. Yes. It can assist with brainstorming and summarization, but it can also be integrated into your Microsoft 365 applications. And it is a more secure option because it is housed when you're paying for a license, Copilot license, then that is housed within your operating environment, not out on the web. So it's a more secure feature. It requires a security assessment, like you have to do a Copilot readiness. That's something that the Greene IS team can definitely help with, and we'll talk more about that. So let's talk a little bit more about Copilot. Because you hear about it all the time, but then even when you hear about it, it's like, okay, but what is the difference? What am I getting? So we all know about the Copilot that's free. It's kind of a chat. It's enabled, housed within the Edge or Bing browser. You can ask it. This is kind of an example over here. This is what that may look like on your screen. You see some prompts that will show up. And it's general questions, writing help, like stories or poems, basic coding guidance, web searches, those kind of things. That's what you're going to see with that. Then what we're going to spend most of our time talking about today is the Copilot with a license, 365 license, and or the Copilot Studio license. These work a little bit more advanced features in that you can do work-related prompts, you can do email drafting, document summaries, meeting notes, data analysis. The Excel feature is super cool. You do not have to know formulas any longer. You can have a lot of fun with it. And then task automation, like even within the Power apps, you can enable that as a 365 application. And Copilot Studio. So this is a feature that is more unique and not as often spoke about out in the communities when you're hearing about Copilot. Copilot Studio is actually something that our Greene IS development team, we have a team of developers. We can help with special projects, and this is one that you can actually create custom business workflows, company-specific AI tasks, chatbots, customer support automation, and even internal data queries. And we have something we've developed that's called the Greene Assistant. And we're actually going to showcase that today as well, just so you can see some of the features that you would get with Copilot Studio. So again, we'll share slides with you, but the main thing is I'm not going to read through these 3 slides. There's operations, sales, and customer service, because I think what's most important is for you to see this functionality. So we're going to go through this. Jumping right in. I missed a meeting on Monday. But guess what? Because we are in the 21st century and it is 2025 and we are a tech-enabled savvy team, they didn't have to wait on me. So they can go ahead and proceed with the meeting, and I can see the notes, and I can do a lot of functionality on my own schedule and still get the task completed by the deadlines, all the things that we're looking to do. So I missed the meeting. Okay, so I can go into Teams, and many of you know about this feature. Teams, your regular license, is going to give you the breakdown, like when the speaker spoke, all the different things that happen. And it's going to give you a recap, right? So we all know about that. Unique when I start opening the Copilot feature is I can get takeaways, I can get next steps, and I have a task list. So I can see here that one of the follow-up items from this meeting is that Steve needs to look at implementing a new CRM system. And that jolts my memory and I go, oh my gosh, I was supposed to prepare a side-by-side comparison report for Steve so that he can do that analysis. He's supposed to be shopping for a new CRM system. Okay, well, the information that I need to pull together, I can have Copilot help me draft that quickly. So let's look at how we do that. I'm going to go over to Word, and I've got it open. So when you have a Copilot license in Word, then you have this little ribbon that pops up. So I love that Microsoft continues to make fabulous updates to make this so much more user-friendly. In fact, I feel like it's even had an update in the last hour because this looks a little bit different and even cleaner than it did a few hours ago. So some features is that you will also see the prompts showing up at the top of your screen. I can go into either one. I can open the widget window, or I can just prompt right here. And I want to make sure that I'm really specific in my prompts. I want to make sure that I ask it really specific tasks. So I'm going to say, hey, Copilot, can you provide a comparison report of 2 sales CRM, Zendesk, and Salesforce? It must include features, advantages, and pricing, and I'd like it in a table format so it'd be easier for me to read, right? So I'm going to be really specific, and I'm going to say generate. And just like that, love it, I have my first draft of a report that I needed to be working on. I didn't have to go and do all this. I do need to verify that it's accurate. Maybe I'd prefer that these are bulleted kind of thing. So I can go in, well, I didn't do that right, but if I want to make this bulleted, this is actually one sentence, so it's not going to make a bullet. But if I wanted to have this bulleted, I could go in and adjust any formatting features that I wanted to. I could add another column. I can start instead of starting from scratch, I have a document to start with. Check, I got that done. What was the next thing that, as a sales leader, how do I come in and how do I make sure that the team can continue with all the tasks they have from their takeaways, and I'm not preventing them from moving forward? So one of the other things is setting up a cross-department meeting. So actually I can prompt Copilot to help me do that, because maybe I don't remember everybody's names and all the different things. And for time purposes, I've actually got my Copilot generated piece right here. And so I just said, hey, Copilot, create a meeting with Steve and Lynn to be scheduled on Friday at 9 a.m. And I can even tell it the subject line. I want the subject line to be sales process standardization. So I prompted that, I hit send. It says, great news, please review the card below and click send to finish scheduling. So as you can see, my little appointment card is here, and I actually can click edit, and it's going to pull up this screen, and I can make any edits that I need to. Scheduled. It's done. Like, how long did that take? I just have to put in a prompt with very specific information that I want, have this card pull up, edit if I need to, and send. It's super easy, super efficient. Okay, so I'm rocking along. I'm catching up on this meeting. I'm super excited. And I'm like, okay, whew, I've got all this behind me. now I've got to prepare this sales team training. I was supposed to provide the first draft, and then Steve was going to provide additional information and get that all fixed up. So how do I need to help him with that? I need to prepare my draft. And so with this, I'm going to go in. This is actually something in PowerPoint that I wanted to go to. And so I'll pull up PowerPoint. I've got my prompt here. Again, I'm going to be really specific. So I'm going to say, hey, Copilot, create a presentation using, look at that. If I put in the slash, I can say, I can call out people, I can call out different things, or I can go and call out a specific file. And I want it to use this. So I'm saying, hey, Copilot, create a presentation using this document. Because remember, if you do this on any of the other chatbots that we talked about, this is something actually really important. If you hear nothing else, do not put your company's confidential and proprietary information in those chatbots. They are not secure, and you are putting your company's information out for the entire world to know. Unique. Okay, let's talk about what Copilot can do. This is housed internally, so I can share my actual company documents. If I had my branding guidelines and all the different things that I really want my company, if I've got all that set up in our native systems, I can actually make these presentations and use all of that content because it's within my environment. So I won't go into that today, but I am going to show I can use a specific document, a very specific prompt, and I can have it generate a presentation for me. There it goes. Sometimes it just needs a second try like all the rest of us. It needed its coffee. All right. So again, having been in sales for almost 20 years, I can only tell you that if Copilot had been around, just how effective, how much time could have been saved. And so going through this, as you can all see, I was very specific in my prompt. I said, hey, create this and do it here, create these slides. So now, as someone who's providing the content, my team can now start like in an advanced form and just go through and make changes. They can still use the design feature. So maybe they don't like the way that looked, and maybe they like this better. So with very little experience, quite frankly, in any of these platforms, you could hire, here's a cost savings. You could hire a wide variety of talent, and then you could showcase a tool like this and help enable them to produce work for your team so much faster. Because the reality is, creating the content, we all can put slides together, right? Like school is online, everything is online now. So we're beyond that as a global society, where putting together a presentation is fairly easy for most users. So rather than spending time putting the content in, let's spend time making it have pizzazz, making it unique to your organization. And that's what Copilot can help you do. Because literally, as you saw, within 45 seconds, I have a full presentation. It even recognizes the content, and it has proposed that I use these images that are related. So how we can do it, key takeaways, we would have a timer, 60-second pitch, tips to focus on, save time. It's got, this is obviously a sales presentation. So there's different things that it's not just that it's providing content, but it's also smart enough to recognize what images that it might use and information from the web and the document that I had put together. And again, designer, I can go through and show all these different things. I love this feature. I love it. We've set up, again, let's look at how much time has lapsed. We've only been on the call for about 20 minutes, and I've already done a recap. I have produced a follow-up checklist. I have set up a meeting. I have prepared a sales comparison report side by side. I have prepared a PowerPoint presentation draft, and I need to do some Excel work. I'm one person, and I can do all of these things with smart prompting. So consider that too. All right, so let me go into, I need to identify demographics and locations for this chair sales. So I'm going to go into Excel. If I can get my little thing out of the way. So I've got a spreadsheet, and for the feature to work, Copilot features to work in the Excel spreadsheet, you do have to have it saved to your SharePoint. So it is important, the 365 license goes on top of your regular 365 suite. And so you're already going to have Excel, but you do have in SharePoint, all those kind of things. Any documents that you're working on within the Copilot prompts must be stored and saved within your SharePoint. Again, it can access information on the internet, but for your documents and those kind of things, that is in-house, and you got to have it saved on the SharePoint so that it can access. Okay. So I've got that saved. It's in my SharePoint. Here's my document. And so I've got this, content here, but this is boring. This is not what the executive team is going to want to see, right? They want to see some fancy chart that shows this information. So how can I generate that for them? I've got my Copilot prompt screen up, and I'm going to go and ask it to help me with this report. So I've got my prompt here. So please create a chart based on this sales report. Oh, and I didn't highlight my. But look, it actually adjusted. It did A through F16. So it is taking the whole chart of content. So this is what I also love. So it can be used to learn as well. Let me just show this. Whenever I put in the prompt right here, it says that it's analyzed the information, it's produced it, it has the sheet here. But if I scroll up a little bit more, because I did this earlier, it actually gives me how to do some of these things. So it gives you not only the graph, but it actually tells you how to do the formatting of the different things. So I love that feature. So it's created, let me go back down here, not to get everybody lost here, but it has created my chart. And as I can see here it is, and I can say add this to a new sheet. It just created a new sheet for me. It has a table drafted, and here it is. Let's say that I don't like this particular style of chart. I can come in and I can say, actually, I'd rather that be a bar graph. Done. I mean, how fast is that feature? Like, I don't have to know pivot tables. I don't have to know all the stuff. I just have to prompt Copilot, and it's going to do all the things and produce the same work. I love that. And then I can manipulate the data. Maybe I want it to be based on revenue or various things, but I can start clicking around and changing my pivot table format the way that I want it to be presented. Maybe I want a pie chart instead. So that I love that feature. I love that you can just tell it to do what you want. Maybe you don't need a pie chart. Maybe you're just over here, looking at the spreadsheet. And however, you really, let's pretend that the spreadsheet has 3,000 rows, and you got to analyze and you got to find which city had the highest revenue on that chart. Out of the 2,000, 3,000 lines, which one has the highest revenue? Do you want to go line by line? How much time will that take? I can prompt it and I can say, Copilot, help me by highlighting the top 3 revenue. Oops. Actually, I should show you that it actually will recognize, even if you spell stuff wrong, I'll do it with yellow. I won't put the W on it. The top 3 revenue locations in yellow. I didn't put a W on it. I don't have to. It's not going to correct me, but it's also going to help me highlight. So I've got 3,000 rows. It's going to read all of them, and it's going to ask me if I like this color, this formatting, and I can apply it. And there you go. As you can see, so I've got my rows highlighted in the bright yellow here. And I didn't have to go through that. It highlighted, it recognizes the top 3 revenue. Now, again, imagine This is 3,000 rows, and I'm having to go through line by line. Of course, you could sort, you can do all those things, but pretend you can't. What if you have a legacy Excel document? This is a real case scenario. We have a client who has a spreadsheet and it has years of information stored in it. They're not going to change the format of that spreadsheet right now because it would be too cumbersome for them to reformat it, because it's got blocks of information kind of throughout the sheet. However, what they can do is, again, they can highlight the section that they're wanting to analyze and say, help me review this section and find the highest revenue location. Now that's powerful because I don't have to reformat and shift things all around. I can do that right here in the system, and it does the formatting for me, and I don't have to look. You can see operational efficiency. I mean, literally in less than 30 minutes. I have recapped a meeting that happened earlier this week, discovered what the takeaways were, produced first draft documents, maybe a final draft, if I'm not super picky on the formatting. I've produced my documents. I have produced a calendar invite. I've produced a sales report for training. I've produced a meeting. And I analyzed data and created pie charts and highlighted top revenue. Again, all within 30 minutes using the features of Copilot. I hear often, oh, I'm scared of AI because it's going to replace me. The reality is, no, it's not. What we need is to allow the very intelligent humans that we have put in place in organizations to be able to do the work that they can do. Because as humans, your creativity, your ideas, your ability to proofread and make it your own is what's unique to us as humans. We can do that. A robot, it can do a lot. As you can see here, it can do so much accurate data, but allow then to have more creativity time, more time to produce and make those final tweaks on presentations. Managing risk. Can you imagine if I hadn't, you referenced a Copilot, you commented earlier about putting, yes. So specifically what I'm talking about in reference to putting the data out in the world is if you were to take one of your internal proprietary sales documents that has your sales quote, your pricing, all that information. And I've heard some people will take proprietary documents, that's their organization's, maybe their sales pitch document, and they will actually put it out in ChatGPT to ask for feedback to change that document. And that is the risky, because once you put it out, it's like putting it in Google, like, hey, just look at our public documents. So that's the piece. If your documents are stored in your OneDrive, then your security policies and protocols should be whatever you have set up, that's what will be enabled. I hope that helps answer your question. But yeah, it should be safe as far as anything 365 applications. It's gonna keep it internal. So yeah, questions. So managing risk. I mean, fantastic timing of your question. It does help us do that. But also from a different perspective, personal OneDrive, I think it has to be business. I think it has to be combined. Yeah, and I see Corinne. Thank you. So I love that you're asking questions, Paul. Thank you, because that's how we learn and grow. Now, if you have Copilot personal, then all of this would work within that account, but I don't know that you can cross accounts. Yeah, there you go. So the other thing is change management. Something we didn't talk about today. Outlook. I can go into Outlook if it's change of shift. And you're talking about operations. You saw that I can set up a meeting that crosses over different shifts. I didn't have to look at availability, none of those things. It will do that for me. The other thing is I could say, hey, Copilot, summarize email from today. Let's say it's your ticket email box or a sales email box. You could go into that and say, maybe it's in your manufacturing facility and you have a particular inbox that monitors system timing kind of thing, like when a product is completed, it sends an email every time. You could actually have a change management protocol that says, summarize this inbox for today and prioritize the to-dos for the night shift. And it will literally do it in 30 seconds. In fact, well, for security features, I don't show that because I would have to show you my email and summarize everything. So I don't typically show that, but you can do that. And then employee satisfaction. Holy cow, can you imagine, you know, the reality of we're in the 21st century, we're doing employee satisfaction and we're doing all the things. And what happens if we can give time back to our employees? So talk about operations, very similar scenarios for sales and customer service. Again, giving time back to your people is going to improve employee satisfaction without them having to do all these redundant tasks. Think about how you could use Copilot with your, ticketing and customer service teams. Specifically, what we haven't talked about is the Greene Assistant. So let me pull that up because the Greene Assistant is the next feature that I'd like to show you. So Greene Assistant, okay, so this is where we're going to feature Copilot Studio. So unlike Copilot 365, Copilot Studio is one that, again, like I said, the Greene IS development team is unbelievable with problem solving. We have a very great team. I'm wowed at the things that they produce, this being one of them. So we use Copilot Studio to produce this. What it does is it allows you to create a bot for your company. Think about, in this particular scenario, we've created one that connects procurement, HR, our ticketing support team. It requests the team that helps with travel, all the different things. How much time does an organization spend if one of those people change, having to go through and retrain people like, hey, oh yeah, we don't send it to Patty anymore, now we send it to Susan. And then Patty keeps getting all the emails still, and she has to forward them to Susan. And meanwhile, procurement of the item has not happened, or the time off is still not scheduled. Now someone else has put in a request and they remember to go to the correct person. So their time gets approved first. Your other person is still waiting. These are real life examples. Like in an organization, you have all of this stuff going on, and you have to remember to remind everybody and update how to do all the things. Or you can use a Copilot Studio bot in your organization and eliminate all of that stuff. So the way we use it is if an employee needs to take time off, we have like almost 60 employees and one HR person, well, two technically. So we have two HR people, but they need to request time off, and all of these managers and leaders like having to remember paper route, all the things, that's time consuming. Let me just start over. Request time off. All right, so whole day, and I'm going to say not non-paid, and I'd like to take the 14th and just the 14th. Away, Steam. I'm going to say submit, and then you can see it's responding. And it says, hey, you're requesting for a whole day off. Are you sure? And I could say, oh my gosh, I didn't mean to do 0. I meant to do 8. So 8 hours. So is this correct? Yes. So now you can see it's processing my request and it has been submitted for approval. So it knows who my leader is, who needs to approve that. Please check your activity feed for approval status. Well, guess what? Let's go check that out. So if I go to approvals, if I'm a leader who knows that, because I'm not Patty, I'm Susan, and Susan knows that she now has the responsibility of approving time off, I can see that I sent it. Here it is. And it's got the confirmation. If I click on this, I can actually see what I requested, and I can see where it is in the process. I can even go in and cancel or follow up on this from here. So again, huge time saver. I don't have to go chase stuff down. It's right there. Now, when my time off gets approved, I can go into shifts. This is another feature enabled within the 365 suite we use a lot. you want to know who's in or out of the office kind of thing, this is all enabled. And so I really do have a time off request entered for on Friday, the 28th. So if I'm looking at that, or even, like next week, I can look at the different times. So if I'm looking at next week, I've got time off. What's really neat about this is once that time is approved, if I go to my calendar, it's literally already on my calendar. I've got time off put on my calendar right here. So it does all of those things simply by me entering time off in the bot. I didn't have to do anything else, just the one task, and it did all of the other workflows. It also has notified the HR team so that it can be put in the appropriate payroll system to be paid or unpaid. So hopefully that is helpful. I'm going to show you one other one. This is another, again, procurement. How often do we start various things? And I just got it completely. I think my delay here. There we go. Okay. Had to get it caught up. Sorry, I'm using Wi-Fi at the hotel, so I'm gonna say it's, and I should have just waited. You could see it's catching up. It knew what to do. I was being a bad user. All right, so I'm going to request a purchase because do we have gift card winners? So within Teams, I'm going to request a purchase. This is, again, a very common practice that happens throughout organizations. Instead of having to explain throughout the organization that we had a transfer in departments and that someone doesn't handle this anymore, all I have to do is tell them, this is the process, go submit your ticket. And then the workflow is what we have to update in the background one time. We update that one time and it happens and goes to all the people that need to know. So I'm going to say I need an office request. I can submit. I come in here and I'm going to say this is standard. And what do I need? I don't need any of these things. I need a custom request. And I need a gift card for Copilot webinar. And I could put in the URL. We'll just say Amazon.com. I could actually put a real URL in there. Obviously, this is just for this purpose. So I've added that in, entered the reason. This is gift for attending webinar, and I would say submit. And then you can see right here, it says, is this correct? And I could say yes. And my request has been submitted. So now there's a whole series of actions that are happening in the back office at Greene IS, and our purchasing department is off to the races. I'll get an email that confirms, hey, you want this? Is this the card that you want? It's like the process is so fast. It's truly a time saver because I don't have to remember. I wish I could do laundry like that. Like, hey, Copilot, wash my laundry. That'd be great. That concludes the presentation and demo of details today. And just remind you that we appreciate actually that you attended today, that you were here, that you engage, you ask questions, all the different things. And as I said in the beginning, I want to leave you with AI is not replacing you, but it is elevating what you can do. So if you'd like to schedule a little bit more time with Greene IS, I know that we went through this rather quickly today. Paul, I know you had some great questions. I'd love to set up time if you all are interested, if you're like, holy cow, we could really use this at the company I work with. We're a small team, or we've got lots of moving parts, or we work all remote now. I don't know who does what anymore. Copilot Studio may be a fantastic option for your business. And like I said, our development team can help you get that set up and enabled in your organization. Copilot Studio and Copilot 365 are two different things, very different setup. Copilot requires a readiness assessment so we can ensure that it's secure within your environment and all those kind of things. So let us know. We'd love to set up a demo. So you've got the QR code there today. If you want to scan that, that will take you straight to our website. You can just put in your name, information, your company, And then you can just put in a comment that you'd like to schedule a Copilot demo. And then we'll follow up. Misty's on the call today. That communication is going to go to those of us on the call today. So it goes to Misty, myself, Lynn, and then we would respond back to you, get that set up. We could get you set up as soon as this week or next week and go into details. I really, really appreciate everyone joining. And if something comes up when you hang up, feel free to message us or contact us, and we'd love to reach out and be in touch. Have a great day, everyone.